Hello and welcome to another episode here in the post-production part of the texture series. And this time we continue from the last one where we wanted to fix here exactly these seams here that we can see clearly, and especially here these color problems. And this is of course something that can be fixed very fast and sloppily, or you take a little bit more care and you explore what's going on here. And that is exactly what I want to do here right now, and I hope I can supply enough tips and tricks so you can solve most of the problems. We have stopped working on this file in the last episode because we were talking about tileable, and to make this here working with colors is a specific case. It has to do with tiles, but I thought the main idea is in the part before to talk about how to get it here that we can have a continuous repetition of these tiles in terms of structure or idea, if we go organic or with maybe here bricks. And of course, to have here something that goes nearly like a gradient here over the place, we have to take a look. And now you will ask me why he is talking about a gradient. Because when I go here for a moment to offset, then I can see that all these bricks here look pretty much the same when I leave them as I have photographed them. Of course, straighten out, lens distortion, but you know what I mean. I have in mind that we have here a flow of brightness values that we can't really see. So with Command C, I go back to see here my edges that I want to fix, because this area here on the right starts here on the left. So this is tileable already, but we would get always this cross here. So we have to take care about this. And we have two different areas here. The vertical cut, so to say, has not so many problems than the other cut here where we have the line here horizontally, because here we can see clearly there is a difference. Again, we have to ask ourselves, what happens here? Is it just dirt? Is it maybe something in the material? Or are these stones here a little bit more wet? Or is there anything like a half-transparent roof on top that gives me here a different shadow or something like that? The best idea is, of course, first to check out here a little bit the numbers. And I can see here 180, 118 and 110. And here we have 202, 140, 135. So the difference or the distance among these numbers, even here in a gamma space, are relatively the same. So we could just move things up and down. Maybe that would help already. But I want to go a little bit further with you, and we will see if we have here just to deal with an brightness problem, or if we have to deal here with colors that we also have to adjust individually. So how to get this here a little bit more straight, and I want to do this of course in the best way. So I tell you my way of doing it, because I like to have safe cases where I have not a guesswork. Because when you take a look to the numbers here in the info palette, when I move here along, they change heavily. So which one is now the right one? This one, this one, this one here? I don't know. So I have made a copy here. And then I make a tiny little mistake here, but I will repeat exactly this mistake, and then it's pretty much equalized. That means I go here to blur, filter, blur, and average. That means every value here in my selection will be averaged, even the cement here. And so I go here then to the layer that we have, where we want to have the connection, and I do exactly the same average. When I move now my mouse indicator here along, I can see no change in these numbers, so I have a stable relationship here now. The next part that I need to do here now is Command D to get rid of my selection. I make another copy, and this time I move this up after I have set this to difference. I expected here everything black because the difference between the two is exactly 0, and then I move it up, pressing the shift key to get here exactly only a vertical shift. And I can see here already that my average area here is exactly there. Everything else is not equal, and this is of course not equal, but it's without details here, and that is exactly what I want to have. So what I need now is of course that I can adjust one or the other. And for that, I go here just to curves, which I can do here in Photoshop because I'm only in 8-bit. 16-bit would work also, but with 32-bit I would have some problems to do that. We have no curve here with 32-bit, and I click here on this little icon to select that I work only on this top layer here. It will have no effect on anything else, otherwise our little method here wouldn't function. And again, when we have here something that is exactly equal, it will be black, no difference. But we see we have values here, and so this is not the same. But I want to have these two guys exactly in the same way with the curve. That means I call up here a level, and this level is then usable for everything. I do not restrict this to one layer, and I crunch this here down so I can see here very clearly what's going on. That's like a magnification class for brightness and color values, so to say. And then I go back here to my curve. I go to channels and I go to the red channel. I switch here to red, and then I go here to my little hand. Go here to my average area, and I can use any spot here because I've averaged it. And then I go up or down. I have to take a look. It's get brighter here, not really usable. And it doesn't work here very well. So let's start with something else. I go here back, and let's start with blue, for example. Maybe that works in a better way. Blue, click here, and then I try to get it darker, and I can't see a thing. So it's not helpful when I have all colors on. So I switch this off. I stay here now only in blue, and I try to get here something that is completely black. Okay, so then I go here to green, and to green here as well. And I do exactly the same until it's black. So this was the right direction. If I would go up, I would go nothing. I would get nothing because it would get white, and white means the biggest difference possible in this way. So here I have my black value, and keep in mind I have my levels here on top, and so I get here everything magnified, so to say. And then I go here to red and go up, wrong direction, go down. That's the better way. Here's the black point. It's like focusing a camera. You find a point, you go over it, and then you know you have to go back maybe 5 degrees rotation. So this should do the trick here now. And let's have a look here, RGB, and we have here the curves not really on top of each other. So I go back, I switch off my levels, I switch off my difference mode. And now I have gained some information here. And you will ask me, I can't see here a difference. So first of all, I want to get rid of the limitation here from my grid or from my curve. I switch off both, and I go here to this field. So when I switch this now on or off, I can see a change. But I want to have this change, of course, only for this layer here. And I put this here maybe on top of that so it's clearer. So you can see when I switch it on, everything gets darker, and that is exactly this area here that I want to have. I don't want to have any option that I have any change here on this area. That means I click on the mask, I select here the mask, and then I press the D key to be really certain that I have black and white here in it. And I want to have the black here filled. That means Command and Delete. So this is now brighter because this one has here no effect anymore. But now I have an overall effect on this area here. Command D to get rid of my selection here. And what I need now is, of course, that I have from the button area a black gradient that stops pretty much in the middle here. That means I go to my gradient. I have made certain everything here is black and white, and I have now here a gradient that is half transparent. It's white, that's not usable, so I press the X key one time and I get black, and I start here from the bottom. I move this up on purpose a little bit in the wrong direction, press the Shift key, and it switches over to the other direction. And I stop here where I hope that my best bed is, and then I get something like this. So this got brighter here as well, and now you can see I have worked only on this part. To be honest, there would be another method, of course, to fix this only to 50%. So I check here 50% of this curve, and then I get only half the effect, and I do exactly the opposite here on the top area. That means I put this here only to 50% of the value in the curve darker, and I make this here a little bit brighter, also to 50%. I think one time is enough for this case, and now I have only to take care about this area here, where we have a lightly little shift from the left to the right, and this is not that difficult, and I think we can get this time away with a much simpler process. And this time I even go a little bit sloppy, because we have to do here some stamp work anyway, because some of these borders here won't work very well. So the first step is to decide which direction we go, and that would be now here. In the complete wrong way here. I wanted to have the selection tool here. I go to that border, and this time the black is on top, so Option Delete. I have no effect on the left side with that, and I could now press also Shift Command and I to get the selection on the other side. Go here to my gradient again, and with no problem, Shift key to get it straight, I click here on this side, and nothing happens here, of course. Command D to get rid of my selection here. Nothing happens because the curve is just straight. And what I want to do here is, of course, I want to change only the brightness values. I go a little bit closer here so the visibility is better. And what I need to do here, because I don't want to change all the values, I want to change only the luminosity. So no color, no saturation, no hue, just luminosity. And now I can do that pretty simple. I go here just with the curve down, I go up, and you can see I get here very close just with an estimate. And I think it's pretty close and close enough. The rest that I have to do is now just use the stamp tool on an extra layer and go over this. I will do this, but I will do this, of course, not in real time. I will do this and comment on top of that. So I start here in 200%, my preferred size, and I encourage you from time to time to go back to 100 or even to 400 if you have a detail. It's much nicer to work in the right scale. And I do this here first pretty fast, and sometimes if I see there's a lot where I think it could be a little bit better, I switch then later on to a little bit more transparency in the brush or opacity, and then I go over it again. And of course we have the horizontal area here to fix, and just to get over that seam from the cut, and then one time roughly over it. Of course I have broken here the structure of the whole thing, you can see in the middle here. So I like to fix this here a little bit because these areas look a little bit darker, and to give this a little bit more balance, everything should be similar. Okay, a final little test in Cinema 4D, and I have placed this here without tiling on one cube. And the problem that I saw here with these longer parts in the middle results finally in a nice corner solution, which I like a lot. But we have to take care here, of course, of the idea about tiling. So let's check it out with 2 times 2. And this looks already not that bad. I see here my little problem area, but I'm already pretty critical. And I see here the longer ones, which I like here, of course, for the corner. And when I have another cube here, just for the fun of it, then we get here already something that looks a little bit more promising. And the more shapes we get here, the more the tiling structure will fade, of course, in the background. And let's do the test with 4 times 4, even if I think we shouldn't take it that high. But for bricks, that's a pretty typical resolution, or even more. And I think that looks like there are little boxes behind it where we have here a little representation of the walls behind. I say thanks for listening. Have fun with it. Bye bye.